quick stuff on the Lakers. Since the season ended, they announced Vogel's getting fired. He's not even, I don't even think he had like taken off his tie in the locker room yet. They proactively leaked the Westbrook piece before the season even ends about what a disaster that is. Give some dirt on that. Nick Nurse's name gets thrown out. He's a Clutch client. Toronto has him under contract. I have no idea why they would let one of the best 5 coaches in the league just go somewhere else when he's on a contract. The Lakers seem like they're flailing all the way around. But the big thing for me is just LeBron with a year left. We've never seen him in this situation before where he doesn't really have a lot of power because there's 2 things going on. One, how do you trade Westbrook? I tweeted yesterday, I was like, I just don't see it. Like, you can throw all these fake Westbrook trades at me. I don't see it. I think they're going to either have to buy him out or he's going to be like, F this, I'm staying, and just be super stubborn. But that's holding everything hostage on top of the LeBron thing. LeBron has no power. Is there any out here at all that you see? I know you talked about this yesterday, but for my audience, is there any outs?
Well, how about attaching one of those or 2 of those future draft picks, 2027 and 2029, to Russell Westbrook? Because you're right, like him alone, there's no value. There's nothing that makes sense. Verno and I have been talking about that since Mark Stein reported it. The idea of the Hornets and Michael Jordan wanting Russell Westbrook, it is ludicrous. I would lose my shit if I were a Hornets fan and we get Russell Westbrook and pair him with LaMelo Ball. It just doesn't make any sense. But
you're trading Hayward and Rozier so you can have Russell Westbrook for a year? Why would anyone do that?
No way. It doesn't make sense. What does make sense is if a team, it says we want those future firsts, we'll give you a good player or good players in return for Russell Westbrook's salary, and then the buyout happens. Something like that makes some sense, but even then, getting to nearly $50 million in salary is not an easy thing to do. Granted, there will be a couple of teams with cap space, so there's not a lot of paths here for the Lakers. What's been on my mind with them, Bill, is if you're LeBron James, like everything we hear is that he's staying in LA, that he's happy living here, his son in high school and all that. Family loves it. He loves it as well. You know, LA is great. But if you're LeBron, is there any part of you that's thinking about bouncing?
Well, his son's going to be a senior in high school, and he likes living in LA, as you said. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, the season could start. It could just be a business decision where you're gone for 7 months on the last year of your contract. They would also have to agree that he can bounce. And if I'm them, why would I do that? You just made me trade all of these picks and all of these players for Anthony Davis. I still want to see what it looks like if both of you are on the court together. You're the one who told us we had to trade for Russell Westbrook. We did. Now you're asking us to use more picks in the future. You're going to be in year 20. You've missed 84 games over the last 4 seasons. What makes us think, that we should mortgage even more of the future and the past and the present that we've already done to make you happy when you might leave in a year anyway? This is kind of what he did in Cleveland, right? In 2018, when he had that little, almost like a work strike halfway through the year, when he wanted them to trade that pick that became Colin Sexton for help. And they kind of looked him in the eye and were like, we think you're leaving. We're not trading that pick. We're not. So why would the Lakers trade picks to make him happy? I don't get that part. I think they have one play at KFC. I think you have to keep Westbrook. Either he comes back next season or you just keep him away, John Wall style. And I think you just have to hope when we get to January, February, that's an expiring contract. Half of it will have been paid already. And then you can flip it for stuff. And I think that's it. I think that's our only option. We've learned everybody can be traded, but I think that's the only realistic option.
So if you're the Lakers, you're not willing to attach either of those future first-round picks in 27 or 29. You're unwilling to do it.
I'm unwilling to do it.
Even if it means getting rid of Westbrook and getting some solid return. And like by solid,
who am I getting?
Even if it's like a Julius Randle type, who is not a good player last season, but was All-NBA 2 years ago. If it's something like that, is there some appeal for you to attach one of those first-round picks?
It's like Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier is the kind of stuff they're looking at. And that's what people don't understand.
So in other words,
they're getting crap back for somebody's decision to take the Westbrook contract.
So if you're in Rob Pelinka's seat and LeBron comes to you, he's pissed off. He wants to trade. He wants to, try to make the most of the time he has here in LA. You're saying, no, we're keeping our 27 and our 29 because we need to retain future flexibility. That's what you're doing in that case. And if that happens, though, how do you think LeBron responds? That's what brings me back to my thought here is if you're LeBron,
what's he going to do? Not play?
Demand a sign and trade. I mean, demand a sign and trade with a free agent somewhere. Or for LeBron, he could just outright demand a trade this offseason.
Under contract. We just saw this happen with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. We just saw this happen. He wanted to go to San Francisco or Miami. They stared him down. And they're like, no. So he's like, I'm going to retire. They're like, cool.
Because why would you trade Tom Brady?
30
why would
days
you trade
pass.
LeBron James, right?
30 days pass, and they waited out, and what they did was they leveraged his desire to still be great, to still be in the limelight, to still try to set records and all that stuff, and they knew he was going to come back. And with the Lakers, LeBron has no leverage. What he's going to be like, I'll sit out. It's like, you will? You're trying to break the scoring title. So you're just gonna hand away games for no reason?
So if you're the Lakers, you're not willing to attach the 27 or the 29 first.
I am not
to a deal like Russ, but you're also not willing to trade LeBron James. Does that mean you would then be willing to look into moving AD?
I'd be more willing to do that because I don't know what I have with AD. He's year 11 next year, right?
And always hurt.
He's not the guy. 3 years ago, we were in Vegas. Remember when that trade went down? I think as we were leaving, and it was like, oh my God, this guy's 25. Jesus. Holy shit. This sucks. Now this is going to be Wilt Kareem Shaq. Now he's going to be 29. He's going to be year 11. And I don't know if he can stay in the court. And I heard what he said about, the reason I didn't get even more injured because I was in such awesome shape. I didn't see a guy who looked like he was in awesome shape this year. I saw a guy that was carrying too much weight and is somebody that's going to keep getting hurt.
And his jumper hasn't been the same ever since the bubble. I mean, like he that was an outlier stretch, the way he shot in those empty arenas in Orlando. Other than that, he's been incredibly inconsistent, low 30%. So if he's not hitting jumpers, it changes the what the Lakers could be on the offensive end in the half court.
I think they jumped the gun with the Westbrook stuff. I thought they were going to wait till the summer and try to make it seem like he's great. This is going to be awesome. While secretly trying to trade him. They went the other way. They were like, nobody wants to trade for this guy. Let's try to go after him now to the point that he's like, I got to get out of here. I might even take the buyout just to get me out of here.
Who would want Russ on?
Nobody. Nobody wants him.
Not the money he's making now.
Not one team. Nobody.
What about league minimum? Who wants him in that case? Like, let's just say the lowest salary possible. Who would want Russ? Who's lining up first?
I went through all the teams and I could not figure it out. Because if
you
you're a young team,
Orlando, because they have all those guards.
If you're a young team, why would you want him? If you're a mid-range team, you're going to have to give something up to get him. Like somebody like the Knicks, Charlotte, people in that range. Then if it's a team that wants to dump salary, all the contracts are shorter. Nobody really has to dump salary in the same way, So now you look at a team like Portland. I guess would be the only possibility. If they're throwing away next season too, and it's like, all right, one year Russ, we'll get some more picks out of it. But it goes back to my initial thing. I don't think the Lakers have to give up picks. I would rather
the Wizards get him back with Beal. Beal really liked Russ. Tommy Shepard liked Russ. Russ liked Washington.
But now they have to put contracts in that trade, though.
I mean, I'm saying if it were like a buyout situation, but even if it were a trade, we could talk trade reversal.
I thought he was way worse this season. Oh, didn't you feel like the guy we saw this season, almost a little bit like James Harden, was a different guy than this season a year ago? Somebody would say it was the confidence. He was in the wrong situation. I saw somebody that didn't quite have the same athleticism. His shot was worse, and all of the bad things about him, like his defense, his ability to play off the ball, all that stuff is just magnified as he gets older. And I just think he's a losing player. I honestly think he's a losing player.
All season long, I was saying how he needs to change for the Lakers to have any chance. And, people said I was crazy for even suggesting that Russ can change.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. It was crazy to suggest that. Did you watch his exit interview with the media? He just doesn't get it.
That's the worst thing for his trade value is that interview where it's like, none of this is my fault.
He says,
I don't know why the coach didn't like me.
it's a bad season if I don't have a triple-double. It's like, dude, it's not about the numbers. It's about cutting. It's about playing and focusing on defense. That's what this Lakers team needed. And he's like, oh, I did everything I could. I forget who asked him it, but someone said, what does sacrifice mean to you? And he's like, it's about doing what's best for the team. And I feel like I did my best. I don't think he did. And I just don't think he gets it. I don't think he sees where he is at this point of his career and what he could be and needs to be to contribute to winning basketball. Because we're talking about all these potential fits for him. Like the fact that nobody would want to trade for Russell Westbrook says a lot. Like, despite all the knocks about him over the years, despite some of the choke games, despite some of the shot selection, this guy authored unbelievable moments throughout his career. When Brett Favre was near the end, teams were happy to get him. The Vikings got him. The Jets got him. Brett Favre had those great highs and those great lows. I like to think about Russ as the NBA's Brett Favre. He's had those peaks, but he's had those really disastrous moments. The fact we're already at this point, Bill, I think that he is really the face of these players, some players who aren't able to adapt. We have seen the opposite side. We've seen Carmelo Anthony. We've seen Dwight Howard in his own locker room. We've seen Vince Carter. Russ just isn't one of those guys, unfortunately. It's sad.
Yeah, it's either his way or the highway.